Hello students. In your paper 4th, the romantic age, you have done 2 units in your offline classes. Then I will start now unit 3rd. This is an essay by Charles Lamb, Dream Children, a reverie. So it is a reverie. Reverie means a waking dream. So this essay is a delicate artistry, a moving daydream enveloped in an air of pathos. In this essay, as I will tell you about Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb was born on Feb 10, 1775, London, England. Died in December 27, 1834, Edmonton, Middlesex. English essayist and critic, best known for his essays of Elia, as we have been doing now. The essays of Elia. He was best known for his essays. Lamb's first appearances in print were as a poet, with contributions to collections by Coleridge 1796 and by Charles Lloyd 1798, A Tale of Rosamund Grey. A prose romance appeared in 1798, and in 1802 he published John Woodville, a poetic tragedy. The Old Familiar Faces 1789 remains his best known poem, although on an infant dying as soon as it was born 1828 is his finest poetic achievement. Lamb's greatest achievements were his remarkable letters and the essays that he wrote under the pseudonym Elia for London Magazine. So, he wrote the essays under the name Elia for London Magazine, which was founded in 1820. So, Dream Children. In Dream Children, it is a reverie, it is a waking dream. So just like children have a great liking for stories connected with their elders and their past. Lamb's little children Alice and Joan also had this curiosity. One evening they gathered near Lamb to hear something about their great grandmother Field. The name of the great grandmother was Field. So the children, imaginary children of Charles Lamb, they wanted to listen the stories about great grandmother Field. The children are of course imaginary, because Charles Lamb was throughout a bachelor and had no children in reality. So Lamb opens this essay, Dream Children, by narrating the story of his grandmother, Mrs. Field, to his children, Alice and Joan. Lamb's grandmother, his children's great-grandmother, lived in a great house in Norfolk. This house was 100 times bigger than the house they are living presently. So Lamb told them how religious and good their great-grandmother had been. She had lived in a great house as his housekeeper, looking after all the ornaments in it were removed to the other house of the owner, where they looked very much out of place. Here Joan smiled as if to say that it would indeed have looked foolish. Great-grandmother Field's funeral was attended by many people, the poor as well as the gentry of the neighborhood. In her youth, she had been very tall, graceful, and erect, and a very good dancer. So he was telling about the grandmother. Lamb narrates to his children the story of the tragic scene that had been covered out in the wood upon chimney piece of the great hall in the great house of his grandmother. However, this wood chimney was then replaced by a marble chimney by the owner, Mrs. Field. She was Lamb's grandmother, was not the real owner of the house. However, due to her kind and humble behavior and her great religious devotion, had turned everybody to respect her. She was not the real owner. The owner of the house hired her as the caretaker and handed over it to her while he himself lived in another house. So you would have understand. Now, Mrs. Field lived in the great house as if it was her own. Later on, the precious ornaments of the great house were shifted to the real owner's house. However, they didn't suit the modern house. And next, Lamb tells his children about his grandmother's death and funeral. So, it was attended by everyone, whether it was poor or it was a rich person. So, Lamb tells his children that the grandmother was very beautiful, and he tells the personality, graceful personality of grandmother. She was the best dancer in the country until cancer attacked her and deprived her of her skill. However, this disease couldn't take her good spirits. So, next, Lamb tells Alice and John of how his grandmother used to sleep alone in an isolated chamber of the house, and also, she believed that she saw two infant ghosts in the midnight. However, she was also sure that there were decent mortals that wouldn't hurt her. Although his maid slept with him, Lamb was quite frightened of the ghost as he was not as religious as his grandmother. So, Lamb told his children about their grandmother's love and affection towards her grandchildren. Lamb, along with his siblings and cousins, visited his grandmother in holidays, where they particularly he spent most of the hours gazing around the old sculptures of the emperors of Rome. He would gaze them as much as the sculptors would appear to him living, or else he would turn marble. Moreover, he would roam around in the mansion without getting tired. Lamb told the children about their uncle John. John was handsome, courageous, and high spirit. So he tells, first of all, he told the story of grandmother, then he tells about their uncle John. So he told the children that John was handsome, courageous, and high spirit. He loved riding and hunting. When Lamb hurt his leg, John was very kind to him. When he died, Lamb missed him deeply. Here the children began to cry and requested their father not to tell them anything more about their uncle, but to talk about their dead mother. So the children wanted to listen only about the great grandmother, Alice. So Lamb then tells about how he courted Alice W.N. for 7 years, sometimes in hope and sometimes in despair. Suddenly, he becomes aware that the young Alice looked so much like her mother that he is confused about her identity, whether it is the child Alice or the mother. So, he tells all about the courtship of Lamb and Alice. The dream fades now. Slowly, the children faded away into the distance till he could only see two sad faces which seemed to be saying, "We are not of Alice, not of thee, nor are we children at all." And Lamb awoke to find himself in his bachelor chair where he had fallen asleep. Sitting beside him was his sister. So it was a dream. It was a dream, and the dreams finally, the two desolate structure are left out of them, saying him that they are neither of Alice nor of you. They are not children at all. The children of Alice calls Bertram father. Hence they are merely dreams. Suddenly, Lamb wakes up and finds himself in the bachelor armchair where he has fallen asleep with the loyal Brigette by his side. So, Dream Children is just like you see, appropriately given the additional title of Reverie. It is a reverie of a man whose life was unfortunate, more in the emotional sense than in the material. Lamb was not a rich man, but his life was also poignant in the unfulfillment of his cherished desires. He was unsuccessful in his love for Anne Simons. As a result of the failure, he suffered a nervous breakdown and had to stay in an asylum for a while. Soon after, his sister killed their mother in a fit of insanity. With admirable courage, he took it upon himself to look after his sister to keep her from the lunatic asylum. It speaks for his humanity and self sacrifice that he left London, which he loved to live in the countryside, for the sake of his sister. Under the circumstances, he remained a bachelor all his life. His life was thus full of poignant experiences. Dream Children grew out of his tragic experience. It captures his wistful longings which were never fulfilled. So, this is the result of his wistful longings, wistful and desires which were never fulfilled. And there are the dreamy reminiscences and reflections in this essay. So, this essay is full of dreamy reminiscence. The death of John Lamb, Charles' brother, actually gave rise to the essay, and it is natural that Lamb should reflect upon it. The author recalls his own long courtship of Anne Simons. He recalls his childhood days and his holidays. He gives an account of his brother's looks. He also reminisces about his grandmother, Mrs. Field, who was a kind and religious lady but spent a lonely life. So, this essay, Dream Children, is a narrative essay in which the author Charles Lamb narrates the story of his dream that he had. In this dream, he came across his dream children that diminish at the end of the dream. This essay exhibits the subjects of pain and guilt of getting deprived of the people whom we loved from the core of our heart. In this essay, the author is brought in a dream world to reveal the sweet recollections of the past days. The essay, being enhanced with despair, clarifies the worth and necessity of childhood and loved ones for an individual without whom the life appears to be dark and suffocating for the individual. So, this essay is full of pathos. So, this is full of pathos. Pathos is the keynote of this essay. The essay is beautiful reverie and a daydream about all the longings of Lamb. His unfulfilled dream of a cozy fireside with wife and children is given a poetic shape in the essay. He imagines a talk with the children whom he never had. Thus, they are dream children. Because Charles Lamb, he never had any children. He never got married. So they were dream children. Lamb imagines Alice and John as the children of his imaginary marriage with N. Simmons, whom he calls Alice W.N. in the essay. There is an air of pathos in this essay. Dream children is the wail of a deeply sympathetic, keenly loving soul for whom fate has apportioned solitariness, and it is imbued with the tragedy of Lamb's life. There is a blend of fact and fiction. So, though this essay is autobiographical, Lamb does not give all the details with factual truth. His grandmother was associated with the plumbers of Hertfordshire and not with the great house in Norfolk. Furthermore, Lamb was not Lamb. His physical defect was a stammer. Alice W.N. was actually N. Simmons. However, we get a true picture of Lamb's own love of solitary, busy, idle amusements and his happy holidays at Mrs. Field's place. So, there is a blend of fact and fiction. There is a shift in the tone of the essay at various points. The shifts in the tone from humorous to tragic occurred when the author described the scene of his grandmother and beloved brother death. Lamb appears to the nostalgic throughout the essay and longed for his loved ones. He is depressed at the death of his beloved Alice and feels guilty for not marrying her. Towards the end of the essay, a twist in the essay comes when all the events in the story turn out to be a dream. This adds suspense to the essay along with an open end. Thank you.